Everybody, welcome to another video. So today we're pitting the Sagola 4600 Xtreme in 1.3 with a DVR cap, which is a clear cap, dedicated clear cap, and we're putting that up against the clear version of the Devilbiss DV1. Now this has got the C2 cap, which is the faster of the two caps. You get a C1 and a C2. Some people will say that the C1 cap actually gives a flatter finish than the C2, but I really haven't found that. I seem to be able to get as good a finish with both of them, even though the C2 is actually faster. Just before I carry on, just to say thanks to all the new subscribers, etc. If you are enjoying the videos, think about giving us a subscription if you can. It will help the channel. I'll put a link in the description so it makes it a little bit easier for you to find. I'll also put a link in the description to a video of the C1 v the C2 cap, so that you can see the difference it makes between the C1 and C2 on the Devilbiss. So that'll be something that maybe you'd want to pop along and look at. Anyway, so these two together, we're using the same panel and we're using the same clear coat. It's exactly the same day, so the temperature is more or less the same. It may be one that, you know, if it's morning versus afternoon, it'll be warmer in the afternoon than in the morning, but we try and keep everything as close together as possible. We heat both the clears up and we try and get the temperature, I say we, me, try and get the temperature as close as possible so that everything is as close as possible, so it really is the guns that's making the difference. So the reason for using the same panel for both of them, obviously it's a different panel, but it's exactly the same panel, if that makes sense. The reason for using that is so that you can have a look and you can see the finish, and it's comparing like for like really, but you'll be able to see the difference in speed between these guns, and the difference in speed between these two is immense. Some aren't so much, but certainly these two, it's quite striking how different it is. If you look at the second coat, because the first coat, although it's a full wet coat with this is a U-Pol 2081, the final finish is normally dictated by the second coat. So the second coat is what I'm aiming for, the best finish. Now I'm not trying to mimic any orange peel, I'm not trying to get it to match a factory finish, I'm just trying to get as flat as finish as possible. So everything you see on here is just designed for me to give it as flat a finish as I can get, to show you the difference between the two guns, if there is any. When you see at the end, you'll see that both the panels are side by side. They both, in my opinion, give just as good a finish. I don't think you can really split them, and I think a lot of that is to do with the painter. The person behind the gun can get a certain finish with a gun, but what you will notice is that if you look at the times on these two, the Devilbiss achieves the same results but in 10 seconds more than the Sagola. So that will give you an idea of how fast the Sagola is. Now I actually prefer to use the Sagola in 1.3 XL, but this is a 1.3, and I did that because the Devilbiss was in 1.3. I've got a 1.4 tip for the Devilbiss, but I haven't got a 1.4 for the Sagola, so I thought it would. I've got a 1.3 XL they call it, which is 1.35, but I just thought it was better to do like for like. So they're both 1.3, so they're both fully comparable, and you'll see that, as I say, they both lay the clear down really nice, but one is definitely a lot faster than the other. And that got me thinking, before I narrated this video, I'd been swapping some messages with a guy in the US, and I always recommend the Sagola because it's one of my favourite clear coat guns, because I like the speed of it. When I do stuff, I like to, you know, it's like waving a wand really. It's very fast, so you can just put it over the work, whatever you're doing, and it's done, if that makes sense. So I quite like that. But he got a Sagola, followed my suggestions basically. He got a Sagola in 1.3 XL, and it was just too fast for what he wanted to do and his painting style, and it is quite personal. So when you hear these videos and other people doing videos and they're saying, you know, it's a great fast gun, Well, it's only a great fast gun if you want a fast gun. So this is not saying that the Devilbiss is better than the Sagola, or the Sagola is better than the Devilbiss. It's just saying that one is quite different to the other, although you can get similar results with both, if that makes sense. But I prefer the Sagola because I prefer a faster gun. But getting back to this chap, he then tried a 1.2 tip, and he still wasn't quite happy with it. So he ended up getting rid of the gun. As far as I know, he ended up getting rid of the gun. And it just goes to show that, you know, one person saying this gun is great, it might necessarily be great for you. So it's probably best to listen a little bit to the videos, to what people are saying, because if they like a fast gun, they'll give it a glowing report, and then you'll get hold of it. You don't like a fast gun, and it won't feel the same to you at all. Both these are obviously dedicated clear coat guns, so we're just talking about clear coat here. I haven't used either, actually. No, I've never used the C2 cap for base, and I've never used the DVR for base. I suspect that the Sagola would probably be a bit fierce for base coat, because I'll put a link to a video I did an unboxing of, and it explains a bit better about the caps. But on the Sagola, the clear cap, there's a baffle. In most of the Sagola caps, there's a baffle, and it just cuts the air pressure down. But they remove that in the DVR clear cap, like the Titania Pro, the Agua cap. They've all got a baffle in there to diffuse the airflow. But with the clear version, they don't. They take that out, so you get like a full throttle, for want of a better word. Both these guns, I'll put the settings on the screen anyway, but both these guns are used full fluid and full fan, so there's no throttling back of anything, because the idea of the clear coat is to get it on as fast and as best as you can, really. So we're using them on full fan and full fluid. Both of them are being used at the same pressure, which is 2 bar, although that's 1.5 bar on the digital gauge on the Devilbiss that you see here, but that is actually equivalent to 2 bar at the base. So technically both of them are being used at exactly the same pressure. But I think you'll agree that they both give a fantastic result. But I thought I would just say it. I mean, the temperature was 23 degrees Celsius, so there was no need to heat anything up. A pleasure to paint. Just put the clear on. You can put the clear on nice and wet, knowing that because it's quite warm, it's gonna go off. It's gonna blend into each other nicely, or run out, as they say. You're not going to get runs unless you go silly, and you can put plenty of material on to give you a nice flat finish. So it was ideal conditions, really, for proving that, you know, that these two guns are capable of really good finishes. So here's the finish. This one is, I think I remember rightly, this one is the Sagola. We'll see in a second. And then the other one is the Devilbiss. But let's have a look, because I can't remember now. No, it's DV1, isn't it? So that's the DV1. The first one you see is the DV1, and the second one, this one here, is the Sagola. This is all off the gun, so there's no polishing, nothing being done at all. This is exactly how it is when it comes off the gun. That's the whole idea of doing these videos, to show you what the gun can actually produce. Does that? Yeah, Sagola. So that's the Sagola. So you can see I couldn't split them. Both fantastic finishes. One gets there much faster than the other. If you like a fast gun, definitely think of the Sagola. If not, then the Devilbiss is a good gun. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Bye-bye.